Hello AOS fans, it's Pete again and I'm here with another deck review. This one is for my Sepulchral Guard in our upcoming mirror match against Robins Sepulchral Guard. So it's an interesting one. Sepulchral Guard versus Sepulchral Guard. I'm not sure who's played this out there, let me know if you have, but I'm sensing there's going to be a lot of casualties because wounds are low to medium and damage can be high if you get the right bonuses off. So that could lead to a lot of people getting killed. Because of that, I'm going to be aiming for a bit of a mixed deck. I'm going to go for a deck which has a little bit of objectives in, which hopefully will throw Robin off a little. And I'm also going to be putting in some killy cards as well. So I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to run through my objectives, show you where I'm going to try and win my glory, and then I'm going to run through my, well, my ploys and my upgrade cards. So let's start with objectives. So, more able bodies. Score this in an end phase if your warband took out 2 or more enemy fighters in the preceding action phase. Pretty much an easy win. I should be able to kill off 2 with a champion, Sepulchral Warden, or maybe even the Harvester if I can get some bonuses on him and a lucky hit. March of the Dead. Score in an end phase if all my survivors have made a move action. This is a pretty easy one to get off as well. Hopefully I'll get it later in the game when I have less people, well 5 at least, to have to move. For 2 glory, it's a really nice card to have. Skills Unforgotten. Now I know this is normally skills blinking forgotten once again, but I reckon against other Sepulchral Guard, my Sepulchral Warden should eventually manage to work out that it's the stabby end that he needs to use. Always nice to get a mid-turn glory, and I'm really hoping that should be an easier one to pull off this time round. Determined Defender. Score in end phase if the same friendly fight has held the same objective for 2 phases. I'm hoping I can sneak this one in with an objective in my back field, just get one of my petitioners to sit on that one and babysit, and that's an extra free glory. Flawless Strategy. Score in an end phase if you score 2 or more other objectives. Hopefully I'll get a couple of easy win objectives and then that's a 3rd one in the bag. The Harvest Begins. Score this immediately if a friendly fighter makes an attack that damages 3 or more enemy fighters. I'm really hoping that with the number of sheer bodies around, the Harvester may come into his own a bit here. He's a pretty solid fighter on his own. He rolls 2 dice, needs swords, does 2 damage. That's enough to take out petitioners. If I can wound, say, the champion and the Prince of Dust or someone like that, then his 2 damage may be just enough to see them off. And 3 people, that would be, it hasn't got to kill them all, it's just got to damage them as well. So if I can get some support in there, that should be an easier one. Now I've gone for 2 here, very similar ones, Tactical Supremacy 1 and 2, and Tactical Supremacy 3 and 4. I didn't have enough cards in my objective deck to take all the capture 1 to 5s, but I'm hoping that at least 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 will be my objective, which means I can then throw a petitioner on each, and it's 2 glory. It's pretty much just makes your deck a bit more efficient, means you can fit more other things in. Supremacy. I'm hoping that I get this early, if not at the start, and I'm hoping I get 3 objectives in my zone. If I don't, then I'm going to try and wall up, grab the 2 that I've got, and then try and push into Robin's field and try and grab one of his objectives near the end of the phase. 3 glory isn't to be sniffed at, so that'd be a really tasty one to have. Divide and Conquer. I suspect that with the number of bodies around, people are going to end up in both sides of the field, so if I can capitalise on that one by having one of my fighters and one of Robin's fighters in each of our territories, that's an easy glory. Superior Tactician. Now I had this before and I fluffed it. I should have got rid of it early on in one of my other games. This time I'm hoping it comes out late, and I'm hoping that I should be able to score 6 or more other objectives to then get this one, because that's a really lovely little 3-pointer there at the end. And Ploy Master. Score this in the end phase if I played 3 or more ploys. Well, hopefully I'll get loads of ploys early on, and I'll get that early on, and I'll be able to capitalise on that quickly. Okay, so those are the objectives, and now I'll move on to my upgrade cards, which I'll be spending all that glory on. The first one is Shade Glass Sword. 2 damage, which is nice. If you roll a crit, it gets an extra +1 damage, and you roll 3 dice, you need hammers. Your odds on favourite to do some damage with this anyway. If you can roll a crit, then that's 3 damage, and that's going to take out pretty much anybody on the Sepulchral Guard side. Shade Glass Darts. Now, unlike fighting like Oryx Stormcast with 1 damage isn't that much damage, 1 damage against Sepulchral Guard can be very useful. It's 3 range, and it's 3 dice again. Also, if you roll a crit, it's +1 damage, which is 2 damage, and that is almost enough to take out 6/7 of the Sepulchral Guard force. So I'm pretty determined that I want to try and get that on one of my backfielders, maybe a petitioner, and then I can have them just stand back and lob darts at people and really cause a nuisance. I've then gone for the two keys, the Shadow Key and the Dazzling Key. I think if I'm offensive early on, Robin's not going to see it coming that I'm going to go for some objectives. And if either objective 4 or objective 2 are in my half, that's just 2 extra easy glory I can hopefully snatch near the end. There is the one problem with these two, that they both only get scored in the third end phase, so that is a little bit more eggs in one basket. But I've got 5 ploy cards, so I should be able to keep those if one of them comes along. If I get 2 and both of them in my territory, or both of them are easy to catch, then I'll probably get rid of one in favour of freeing some space up. Frightening Speed, +2 movement is never a bad thing for Sepulchral Guard. Sometimes you're just in the wrong place and the Sepulchral Guard movement isn't good enough, and that'll be handy to get somebody where I need them. Fatal Strike. You get to make an attack action with the champion when they get taken out of action. Now my champion's going to be up front, he's going to be getting in people's faces, so the likelihood is he's going to die. Getting an extra attack in, which does 2 damage, which is almost enough to see most of the Sepulchral Guard opposition off, that's going to be worth taking, especially if I can get it off more than once. Lethal Lunge. Not so useful for the cleave, as Sepulchral Guard don't use cleave unless Robin has the Remembered Shield upgrade himself, but the 3 damage is definitely a plus point for the Sepulchral Warden. Ancient Commander. This one's obviously a given. It's handy for my March of the Dead objective card to be able to move 3 people rather than just 2. Always a winner. Remembered Shield. Turn defense from a dodge into a shield. So this I can put on the Warden, the Prince, or the Petitioners. So depending on how things are going, I might whack it on the Prince if he's doing well, or probably the Warden just to make him that much more survivable. Undying. +1 wound, never a bad thing. That's something that's going to go on the Sepulchral Warden. It's going to make him even harder for Robin to kill off. So those are my upgrades. I'm going to run through quickly my ploys now. Jewel of Wits. Not one I normally take. I think it will be handy to try and boost my cards early on if I can, or if I get the chance, or just to boost in general up to 7 cards possibly. The more cards you've got, the more options you've got, and that will definitely come in handy with Ploy Master as well. Healing Potion. This one's a given. I want to keep my Sepulchral Warden alive. If my champion has taken some wounds, I might want to try and get him back up to full health, or even maybe the Prince or the Harvester, depending on where they are and how effective they're being at the time. Sprint. Always throws your opponent off when suddenly one of your guys can move that much faster. As Sepulchral Guard are slow and only 2 squares movement, Sprint, maybe even combined with Frightening Speed, could have one of my guys sprinting around all over the place. Literally. That one I will be keeping just in case I get Supremacy and I need an objective that's really far in the backfield, or I need to pull someone back quick as well. That will really be handy in that situation. Confusion. I think Robin's going to go for objectives, or at least he's going to have some cards in his deck dedicated to objectives, because Sepulchral Guard really do benefit from that. And being able to swap 2 of my guys around, maybe to give myself an objective and take it away from Robin at the same time, will be incredibly handy for keeping my glory score up and his glory score down. Restless Dead. Resurrecting someone for free, never a bad thing. The number of bodies coming back means I think at some point I'm going to be able to resurrect someone and they're going to be standing right next to an opponent, and those extra attacks could be lifesavers. Bone Shrapnel. It's only 1 damage, but against Sepulchral Guard, that really does make a difference. Terrifying Screams. Being able to manipulate Robin's guys and push them out of alignment, maybe stop one of his guys being able to assist his Sepulchral Warden or Champion, could really benefit me. If nothing else, I'll be able to push him off an objective, and that might cost Robin some glory. Ceaseless Attacks. An extra attack is always a good thing. This will give me that at some point. The Necromancer Commands. Play this after you make a attack that fails, get to do it again. Again, I want to make all of my attacks count when I do them, so this will be great for that. And Dance Macabre, which is any friendly fight that makes a move, can move 1 additional hex. That additional speed, maybe if I can combine it with Ancient Commander, and maybe even the Frightening Speed, could really help to get my mobility up. So that's it, that's all my cards. My plan's quite simple. I want to use my Petitioners to sit in the backfield, snatching objectives where they are, try and get me some early glory, which will be helpful to power up my main guys, the Prince of Dust, the Harvester and the Champion. The Warden's obviously going to be standing fairly central to everything. I might have him up front actually, because if he's in the right place he might be able to make a load of free attacks without even having to move. and then hopefully at the last minute I can use some of my other cards to shift people around where I need them. And I'm going to be going for mostly an in-your-face deck. I'm going to be after Robin, I'm going to be in his face, I'm going to be stabbing him as much as I can, but I'm going to keep the petitioners back to do objective snatching. I'm hoping this is going to work. I'm trying to utilise the fact that Sepulchral have very low wounds with a few high-hitting cards such as Shade Glass Sword, and also ones that allow me to attack from much greater range like Shade Glass Darts, which will force Robin to move into a position to try and eliminate those threats, and thus cost him more of his turns because he's slow. Well, so am I. We're both slow, we're both Sepulchral Guard. But that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I'm doing anything stupid, or if I've once again managed to pick some objectives that I can't even physically score. I'm hoping that this time I haven't really missed out any really stupid cards, but you know, this is me talking here for the like it is. There's at least one in there that's absolute nonsense. I have to admit, if there's any one card in this deck that I would maybe replace, it might be Lethal Lunge, but I'm not 100% sure, and I still think that the 3 damage on him will be really handy. And if I'm doing well and I haven't managed to resurrect anyone, being able to up his damage to 3 without having to get him inspired would be very useful, because that will enable him to one-shot nearly everybody on Robin's team. If I can get something in early to cause 1 extra damage on his Sepulchral Warden, that will then make him a very juicy target. So let me know what you think. Enjoy the game when it comes out, and we'll see you soon. Happy gaming. Bye.